one, go. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Chronicles and Beyond. So I am back with another video. I am super excited, guys. I know that it is long overdue. It always takes me a long time to kind of upload videos on this channel, but hope you guys do understand that I am trying to get that degree 1.0. So bear with me as I try to get this degree, as I focus my attention and my time on my schoolwork. But over the last couple of weeks, when I was not shooting any content on this channel, there has been something that has kind of been accumulating in my heart, in my spirit, and in my mind. Like, my mind has constantly been thinking about this particular thing, and I've kind of realized that most of the stuff that I talk about on this channel are normally triggered by the things that I see every single day on my social media platforms. Like, when I see people's statuses on Instagram, on WhatsApp especially, and all that kind of stuff, it normally kind of gets me to think deeper about stuff. And I think today's topic was actually triggered by a lot of things that I have been seeing on my social media. So if you guys can see from the title of the video, I think I am going to title this video "Is God Good All the Time?" It's about to get juicy, guys, I swear. So grab yourself a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's get right straight into the video. And so I come from a very charismatic church. Like, I feel like my church is one of those churches, it's as charismatic as they come. Charismatic churches just means we active, you know, that kind of vibe. And every single time my pastor ascends the stage, almost all the time, he says God is good, and everybody's gonna say all the time, God is good. Like, I grew up hearing the pastor say this all the damn time. God is good all the time, God is good. Like, I feel like right now, as I'm saying it, the moment I say God is good, somebody's gonna say all the time. And yeah, that has been a thing. I think also Casper Your Besto, every time he has a show or something like that, when he descends the stage, he says God is good, and the people shout all the time. And I keep seeing this phrase all the time on my social media pop up. I keep seeing people shout, and throughout this video I'm gonna say people shout and people scream, referring to people writing statuses on social media, because right now in the 21st century you don't necessarily have to stand on the mountaintop and scream for people to hear you. You know, you only have to write a status, and every single person who sees that status is gonna hear you loud and clear. So I keep seeing people write stuff like God is good, God is kind, every single day. I feel like a day does not go by without me seeing a status on Instagram, on Facebook, on WhatsApp, someone saying God is good. And I realized that people only write such things, or people only scream and shout God is good when they experience some kind of wins in life, when they experience some kind of joy. You know, when you get a new job, you're gonna write God is good. You know, sometimes you don't even have to explain what happened in your life. When we see you write that status, we know, girl, you're winning. We know, nigga, you're winning. Don't be tripping, you're winning. You know, if you write God is good, we know what's okay. Somebody probably wanted you. That is why you are saying God is good. You know, when people say God is good, it's probably after getting a good semester test result, or after passing, or after getting your degree 2.0, after just every time we win in life, we kind of can see the hand of the Lord. And for most Christians, a win equals the hand of the Lord. But I realized that it's quite different when we experience challenges in our lives. Like, when we experience seasons of crushing, when we experience seasons of defeat, when we experience seasons of waiting, when we experience seasons of pruning. Because I believe that each and every single person in their lives experiences some kind of a season of sadness, some kind of a season of failure, derailment, detours. Like, nobody's life goes all smooth, you know. So I realized that you don't see people shouting with the same loudness God is good when they go through challenging times in their lives. When you see someone write God is good on the social media, you just know they're winning, you know. Nobody writes God is good after they experience a loss in their lives. Nobody writes God is good after they experience a failure, after they experience some kind of rejection, when they go through a breakup. Nobody writes God is good. But our lives are a combination of good and bad things. In each and every season of our lives, we're going to experience two things: good things and bad things. And I realized that our perspective of who God is, or how we see God as Christians, it's quite fragile. It's quite unstable. When we're winning in our lives, we can clearly see the hand of the Lord. But when we go through the opposite, we automatically, it's kind of a reflex, like it just happens automatically. We start to question the presence of God in our lives. And I don't think that's how it should be. And as I was thinking about this, I remembered something that I read in the book Crashing by T.D. Jakes. So I don't know if I've said this on this channel, that a few months ago I bought the book Crashing by T.D. Jakes and I read it from cover to cover. I am really proud of myself. But I've heard people say it a lot of times that, oh my gosh, I read a book and it changed my life. And I've always felt like it's very cliche, firstly because I'm not a reader, and secondly because I didn't think your life could change by just reading a simple book. But it is after I read this book that I actually realized that this book has actually transformed me, and I can I can confidently say that it changed my life, because it didn't change my life as I was paging through it and as I was reading it, but it kind of changed the way I see things. Every time I see what people say, every time I see things and stuff like that, there are things that kind of trigger or remind me of something that I read in this book, and it transforms my perspective. I kind of respond to life a little bit differently because of certain things that I've read in this book. And today I just want to share with you guys, if you will allow me, I just want to share with you guys something that I learned in this book about that transformed the way I see God, that transformed my perspective of who God is. And I believe that after I have learned this, it has kind of gave me a more stable perspective of who God is. I don't think when I go through challenging seasons in my life, I will ever say, where is my God in all this? So I just want to share this passage with you guys, and I really, really, really hope that it triggers something in your mind. I really hope that it touches you the way it touched me, like God. Okay, so I am reading from the book Crushing God Turns Pressure into Power by Bishop Jakes. So the phrase that I'm going to read to you guys is under a title called Holy Hide and Seek. I actually love how Bishop Jakes kind of titles everything in this book. It's so relatable. Anyways, it reads as follows. God has promised that we will find him if we seek him, according to Jeremiah 29 verse 13. From all my years of actually pursuing God, though I've discovered that he loves to play hide and seek, he doesn't always hide in the most obvious places, but he leaves a trail of spiritual breadcrumbs for us to follow when he's chosen an out-of-the-way place in which to conceal himself. And this is the passage that I really, really, really want you guys to pay attention to. It says, God is easily spotted during our joyous seasons, but it often seems as if he's an expert at tucking himself away in the most obscure locations during our trying times. Guys, this just finished me. Like, I was gone when I read this. Like, I just want to read it again. It says, God is easily spotted during our joyous times, right? Obviously, duh. But it often seems as if he's an expert at tucking himself away in the most obscure locations during our trying times. Could it be, however, that God hasn't hidden himself during our tumultuous seasons, but rather he has simply revealed himself in a form we've yet to recognize. Guys, could it be, however, that God hasn't hidden himself during our tumultuous seasons, but rather he has simply revealed himself in a form we've yet to recognize? After all, even the disciples at first believed Jesus was a ghost when they saw him walking on the wind-tossed sea. No wonder then they demanded to see him for themselves after he rose from the tomb. They couldn't grasp how Christ could so dramatically change the course of nature as they understood it and still be the master they knew and loved. Before we criticize their reluctance to recognize him, we might look first at our own ability to spot God in our lives. Guys, I hope somebody's listening. It says before we criticize their reluctance to recognize him, we might look first at our own ability to spot God in our lives. Tell me, can you recognize God in another form? Or must he always reveal himself to you through the construct of your familiarity? Guys, can you recognize God if he appears in another form? If he appears to you in something you least expected? If he comes through pain and no joy, can you still recognize God? And it goes on, the last paragraph says, you and I are not the first ones to struggle with glimpsing God's presence, nor were the disciples. Moses and the Israelites experienced such a test while out in the wilderness. In the Old Testament, in Numbers 21, we see a nation concerned about their provision while grappling with a disbelief that led them to verbalize their disdain for the Lord and his servant Moses. It wasn't just murmuring and complaining that provoked God to wrath. It was the unbelief in their hearts that brought on God's swift correction. If there's anything that God has always requested his people to do, it is to believe him. For how can you seek or worship a God you do not trust? So guys, this is actually the core. Like, if you get nothing from this video, I hope you actually got something from the passage that I just read now from the book Crushing, to say, God, guys, let us learn to see God in different ways. Let us not only expect joy and peace and happiness and laughter. Sometimes God will appear in another form. Sometimes when you experience loss, when you experience defeat, when you experience failures, just say, God is good, you know. Scream with the same intensity, scream with the same loudness, and say God is good, and say God is kind. You don't only have to say God is kind when you experience joy and when you experience wins in life, because life is a combination of all these things. It's a combination of good and bad things, and when all those things happen, God is with you. He has not forsaken you. You understand? When you go through challenging seasons in your life, don't say the Lord has forsaken me. Speak with the same intensity, speak with the same audacity, speak with the same courage, speak with the same assurity, and still say, you know what? God is good. And I just want to share with you another wisdom that I learned from this book. There is a chapter in this book that says pruning is not a punishment. Actually, let me just go to it. Yeah, the name of the chapter is Pruning is Not a Punishment. So in this chapter, right, what stood out for me is when Bishop Jakes was talking about when he gave an example, right, when you undergo an operation and the doctors cut you up and all that, after that operation you are going to experience a lot of pain. And it says that same kind of pain that you experience when you're on that hospital bed or after an operation has been performed to heal you is the same exact kind of pain that you feel when you undergo an operation. Do you get that? So pain is pain, but the difference between pain and pruning by God is in the intention. The difference between pain and pruning is in the intention. You know, when someone stabs you in the heart, or when somebody stabs you in any part of your body, they stab you to kill you, they stab you to destroy you. That is punishment. But when God makes you undergo any kind of pain, it is meant for pruning. It is meant for transformation. It is meant for restoration. So also we must learn. We must stop saying, why is God causing me so much pain? Why is God making me go through everything that is making me go through? It is pruning, my darling. It is pruning, my darling. You understand? So we must learn to differentiate between pain. You know, when the devil attacks you, when the devil hurts you, he hurts you to break you. He hurts you to destroy you, you understand? But when God curses you, any kind of pain, it is to prune you, it is to transform you, it is to restore you. Guys, I don't want to go all preacher on you guys, but this is what I've learned, and I think this is kind of transforming me to have a very stable relationship with God, to have a very stable perspective of who God is in my life. I've opened up the comment section. Let's have a conversation about this. What did you guys think about this video? I love you guys so much. Like Nintanda, Ndianifuna, guys, like get that. Anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please don't forget to give this video a massive thumbs up, to leave a comment down below, and to subscribe to my channel. Chronicles and Beyond is about triggering conversations, so let's go and talk in the comment sections. You guys know that I try to respond to each and every comment on my channel. I love you guys so much, and until my next video, bye bye.